This is the life story of Edna M. Rollins, who created an endowment fund within the Community Foundation of the Fox River Valley to support the Aurora East Educational Foundation, the Edna M. Rollins Elementary School, and St. John's Episcopal Church. Edna was born on April 30th, 1916, in Aurora, Illinois. She lived in Aurora during her early years and later moved to Montgomery. According to her birth certificate, her first home was located at 38 South Union Street in Aurora. Edna's parents, William and Anna, affectionately known as Will and Annie, were born in England. They moved to Aurora, Illinois in 1910, with their first child, Ernest, or Ernie as he was called. Will was a machinist in England, and once he established himself in Aurora, he found a position with the American Well Works on North Broadway. Annie had been a seamstress, and then became a homemaker. When the couple moved to Aurora, they joined Trinity Episcopal Church. Annie was confirmed by the church on May 16, 1915, as recorded in this historical document that remains a part of family records. Will and Annie had two children, Ernie and Edna. Ernie, who was born in England, was 7 years older than Edna. Ernie and Edna maintained a close relationship and enjoyed each other's company throughout their lives. Both were members of Trinity Episcopal Church, where they sang in the choir. The church offered a social as well as a spiritual outlet for the Rollins family. Father William Horstick, rector of Trinity Episcopal Church, sent Christmas cards featuring the choir. Edna treasured this keepsake for the rest of her life. Edna proudly kept records of her schooling at East Aurora High School, including her award for proficiency in typewriting, the notice from teacher Roy E. Davis regarding her outstanding work in biology, and her straight A report card during the 1932-33 academic year. Edna carefully preserved the written programs for special events held in honor of the class of 1933. At senior class day, she sang in a quartet that performed the school's alma mater. The senior banquet was held at the Elks Club, which was located on Stolp Avenue in downtown Aurora. Edna knew the value of retaining the histories and the names of those who were a part of Aurora's past. On June 14, 1933, 232 students received their diplomas from East Aurora High School. Many familiar Aurora names were included in the graduating class. During the ceremony, Superintendent K.D. Waldo recognized those students who were awarded membership in the National Honor Society. That evening, Edna proudly accepted her award, which reflected her high academic achievement, leadership, service, and character. 3 years after graduation, Superintendent Waldo hired Edna to work for the East Aurora School District. She held several positions within the district, including Secretary to the Superintendent, Director of Financial and Administrative Services, and School District Treasurer. She also was Secretary to the Board of Education, which was a major responsibility and honor. One of her happiest moments was overseeing the construction of the new East Aurora High School. She joined the other dignitaries at the groundbreaking ceremony for the school that opened in 1957. Edna was proud of her association with the East Aurora School District, a district she served for 43 years. In 1958, Edna designed a home for herself in Montgomery, Illinois. She lived there for nearly 50 years. In the late 1960s, Edna began her studies at the college level, and in 1972 she earned a bachelor's degree in accounting from Aurora College. The commencement ceremonies, held in Thornton Gymnasium, were presided over by Dr. James Crimmy. At the ceremony, Edna received the Gold Ivy Leaf Award for excellence in scholarship during her studies at the college. In 1989, her extraordinary dedication to her beloved East Aurora schools was rewarded when the district's new elementary school was named in her honor. Edna was present at the groundbreaking ceremonies for the facility. The Edna M. Rollins Elementary School was dedicated on October 21, 1990. In addition to her many achievements at the local level, Edna was also a charter member of the Illinois Association of School Business Officials and the first woman to serve on its board of directors. Edna's brother, Ernie, was also a graduate of East Aurora High School. Ernie and Edna were raised in a home located at 917 Lebanon Street in Aurora. Ernie married Julia Anderson, who lived in Batavia. She was a secretary at the Stevens Adamson Company in Aurora, which is where she met Ernie. Ernie served in the United States Army. He then returned to Stevens Adamson, where he eventually became controller of the company. Ernie and Julia lived on Spencer Street in Aurora. Their oldest son, Jim, was born in 1949. He received a great deal of attention from his grandmother, Annie, and Aunt Edna. Jim worked for many years at Equipto and later moved to Texas. Ernie and Julia's second child, David, was born in 1952. David eventually moved to New Jersey and worked as a bank regulator. Family was the most important part of Edna's life. She cherished the times they spent together, especially during the holiday season. She even enjoyed playing a round of golf when given the opportunity. In 1935, Edna attended the fifth game of the World Series between the Chicago Cubs and the Detroit Tigers. She preserved the special memorabilia surrounding this exciting event. And as her admission ticket reflects, she was charged $5.50 to attend the game. Travel was another of Edna's passions. In 1941, she visited Washington, D.C., and kept the special passes given to visitors at that time. In 1949, she sailed to England on the Queen Mary with her parents. Passengers were provided with diaries to record their remembrances of this grand ship. And the dinner menus reflected the elegance and refinement of a voyage on this famous ocean liner. Even a log of the trip was available to passengers, making the trip a true first-class experience. The trip to England marked the first time in 39 years that her parents had returned to their hometown of Oldbury. The Aurora Beacon News provided an extensive report of the trip, including pre-voyage parties given by colleagues at the Sky Club in the Leland Hotel, and a supper at the home of Rose Krug, for whom the Rose E. Krug Elementary School was named. Even the English press gave an account of the trip with the headline, "Our Chimney Pots Puzzle American Girl." The article referred to Edna's amazement at the many chimney pots extending from England's rooftops, an indication of the number of fireplaces sharing a single chimney. Edna later traveled to Paris. And then she visited Versailles. Her trips in the States included a vacation with family out west. She especially enjoyed San Diego and the San Diego beach. In New York City, she and friends dined at the famous Stork Club, which was located at East 53rd Street. The building housing this fashionable nightclub was demolished in 1966 to make way for a park. In later life, Edna visited Hong Kong, Alaska, and she also returned to England. In 2001, the Aurora Beacon News featured a story about one of Edna's cousins in England, who read about her on the Internet and traveled to Aurora to visit her and the Rollins School. More than 90 years after her parents left England, the family continued to connect in celebration of their common heritage. Edna Rollins was the quintessential American success story. She was the loving daughter of 2 American immigrants. She excelled in areas that most women in her day could only dream about. And she lived life to its fullest through her travels and adventures. Edna was special to all: her friends, her colleagues, and the children of the school that bears her name. Aurora is a richer community indeed because Edna Rollins walked among us.